Hi Mom, happy 90th birthday. I put together a slideshow just to highlight some different points of a long and wonderful 90 years of living, and obviously it's more than 90 photos to capture that, and it begins with your more fashionable stage when you were younger and single before you married Dad. He grew up with Grandma L, and Grandma L also lived well into her 90s, so we obviously have some good genes on that side of the family at least. And as a result of you and Grandma going to Connecticut and spending time with Marnie and Carl, you did meet Dad and his family, who spent time with the Lowers family on the farm before they got their own property in Connecticut. Dad was also an only child, and he tried to get away from the city on weekends, and he spent time with Grandma and Grandpa up at the cabin where they had well water and no electricity to start with, and he enjoyed gardening, hiking, fishing, and just being in the outdoors. Dad enjoyed boating and fishing and hiking, and eventually you and he began dating. Soon enough, in the early 1950s, you and Dad were dating, and you were participating in the same activities that he enjoyed and loved, and eventually you got married. And by the mid 1950s, after you and Dad had been married, soon enough, you were having your first child, Tom. At that time, you were living at a house in Croton on the Hudson, and soon enough, the sink that bathed one child needed room for a second child. That would be me. By the early 1960s, we'd moved on to Waldwick, New Jersey, and 5 Kennedy Drive, and at that point, we were ready to have a third child, Lori. You were always great at getting our car packed and organized for vacations to Cape Cod or up to the cabin in Connecticut with 3 kids to manage and all their friends and extended family. Connecticut was a frequent destination for us on weekends and in the summer, and we got to spend time with Grandma's sister Marnie and her husband Carl and his family. You were always a good sport at getting involved in our activities and allowing us to invite friends over, such as the Aherns or Andres. You also made sure that we were involved in our organized activities like the Cub Scouts, Brownies, eventually the Boy Scouts, and you and Dad both hosted events at our house as well as went on trips with Lori and I and Tom. You and Dad and Grandma Elle always made sure that we had outfits, whether they were handmade by Grandma or purchased at the local store, so that we all looked neat in appearance, and certainly that's a tradition that carries on in our kids. You also gave us lots of opportunities to interact with pets. Grandma Elle with her dog, you with Chucky, and then probably too many to count, 8 to 10 other family pets that we had. You've always been welcoming of new grandchildren and made sure that they had lots of fun at your house, as well as got to enjoy our dogs as well as the Lowers pets at times. Although we did have lots of dogs and cats, including one dog that had the name Duke 3 times, he did draw the line when it came to other four-legged creatures like cows and chickens, so that was left to the Lauer family to have the farm animals. We all enjoyed the opportunities to interact with Grandma Elle's sister and her family, the Lowers, and take trips to Connecticut. And certainly you did well with your energy level of making sure we could drive the 2 hours back and forth to Connecticut, sometimes on short weekends, so that we could interact with family. You were also always very energetic and welcoming of having holiday events at our house or helping out at others' houses. Although we didn't have as many opportunities to interact with the Davis side of your family, we did have some memorable times with them also. At Matt's wedding, a couple of years ago, we also got to set the family photo record with the Lauer family, the Oschlagers, the Sabordones, and the Wyatrowskis. As a result of having a good German name like Oschlager, Christmas events and the setup with Christmas trees and holiday cookies and family gatherings were always special in our family. And we appreciate all the effort you always did in terms of cookies, fruit punch, shrimp cocktail, and the traditional Oschlager hors d'oeuvres. And having grandchildren at Christmas time to set up the Christmas village as well as enjoy the celebration with you and Dad was always special. And you have Willem, Matt, Derek, Tara, Krista, and Danny, and some photos with them in it. You also always made sure that we had Halloween outfits and trick-or-treat traditions, as well as made sure that we had opportunities to enjoy music as a family. You've also shared your love of music with the grandchildren, as well as just shared a great deal of love with all of the grandchildren that you spent a lot of time with and had a very positive influence. And you got to enjoy most of the graduation of the grandchildren, except for the COVID affecting Tara's graduation. And then Willem is still a couple years away, and we look forward to you being at his graduation. And we all got to travel as a family to Matt and Grace's wedding a couple of years ago in Pennsylvania. And now you're looking forward to having a great grandchild from Matt and Grace. Before Mom hit 90, she was fortunate enough to finally discover that the nagging sense that she may not have been an only child and that she had a stepbrother that she never got to know was true, and she was able to reach out and meet her niece, Denise Horton, and she welcomed her to the family and invited her to South Carolina for one of our holiday seasons. Happy 90th birthday, Mom. Thanks again for everything you've done for myself and family, and grandson, Willem. Appreciate it. Love you.